Welcome. In this tutorial we are going to learn about set. So set is a mutable collection of hashable, which means it can contain multiple elements and each element must be hashable. It is unordered. So whenever the set object is created, the order in which elements are given, that order is not preserved by the set. In addition to that, it is not indexed. So elements of set cannot be accessed using indexes. Okay, and whenever you are iterating over the elements of set, the order in which they are written is random. And last one is it contains unique data, which means it cannot contain duplicate value. So if you try to add duplicate value to it, it will ignore it. Okay, so let's construct empty set object. So set is a constructor in which we are not providing any argument, so it will return a empty set object. Okay, so there is no shortcut for creating empty set. So if we creating a object with curly braces, inside it if we are not providing any element, so it will return a dictionary object. As we can see here, it has written a dictionary object. So this is shortcut for creating empty dictionary object. But in same curly braces, if we are not providing a key value pair data, simply we are providing elements which are hashable, then it will return a set object with given elements. So here we are creating flower set which containing multiple flowers in string object, which is obviously hashable data type. So it will return a set containing all elements. Okay, so this is curly braces shortcut for set constructor. So same set object we can define it using set constructor, which takes only one parameter, which is optional. It must be iterable. Okay, which means it can take list or tuple or any other object which implements iterator protocol, which returns elements which are hashable. So here the iterable must return element which are hashable. So from those elements, the set constructor will construct the set object and it will return it. Okay, so here we have provided a tuple object of string object. It will return a set object containing these elements. Okay, as we can see, it has written the set object. Next, we will pass a generator function to set constructor. So we know range is a generator function, so it will iterate over each element of generator and it will return a set containing those elements. So here range will iterate from 1 to 10, so set object will contain integer 1 to 10. Next is what happens if you provide element which are not hashable, such as list. So list is a mutable data type which is also non-hashable. So if you provide it, it will raise a type error. So if we try to create with mutable data type, it will give you that it is unhashable and the type of object we are passing to the set constructor. So now let's take a look at the data type or the classes which are built in and classifying those built-in classes into hashable and non-hashable. So for built-in classes, you can take that if it is immutable data type, then it is hashable. So such as int, float, string, bytes, boolean, tuple with only immutable elements, date, time, date and time, decimal, fraction, enum, frozen set, all are hashable, so that can be part of a set. So it can contain those elements inside the set, but mutable objects such as list, dictionary, set itself cannot be added inside a set object because they are mutable and non-hashable. Okay, so we will create set object containing all different kinds of objects. Okay, so if we execute all at once, as we can see here, the set containing all the different kinds of object that is listed in the table, ranging from integer, float to byte to date and time, fraction, decimal, and frozen set. And if you try to create set object with any of the non-hashable, it will give you type error. So next topic is iterating through elements of set. So same for each loop, we can iterate over each element of a given set, because the set class implements iterator protocol. So here the set object will return a iterable object. So from that iterable object, it will iterate over the elements of a given set object. Okay, so here, as we know that it contains unordered data type, which means the elements which will be written by for each loop or the iterator will not be in order in which they are defined here. So now let's execute and see. As we can see here, the order in which it is declared and order in which it is iterated are different. Okay, next is enumerate. So same method as we saw for the list and tuple object, we can use it to return a count variable which will get incremented at each iteration. So it will begin, by default it will begin count with 0 and it will increment by 1 at each step, followed by the element of a given iterable. Okay, so if you print it both variable, so actually it will return a tuple object, and we are here unpacking those two variable inside the tuple object. Okay, so if we execute it, as we can see, it will iterate through element of set in random order, and it will print indexes beginning from, not indexes, but it is just a integer number beginning from 0 up to the length of elements of a given iterable. So if you are providing start at 1, it will begin count from 1. Okay, so as we can see here, it is printing from 1. Now let's see the functions of set object. First one is len. So len is a general function, built-in function. So inside the len, any iterable is provided, it will return length of elements inside the given iterable object. So here we are providing set object inside len, so it will return the number of elements which are stored inside the set object. Okay, so as you can see, there are 6 string object inside the given set object. Next method is add, which adds the given element which is type of hashable to the set. So here we have this flower set, and if we want to add one more flower to it, we can use add method. As we can see here, the new given flower is added, and the order in which it is getting added is random, not predictable. Now if we are adding a duplicate value, that element is ignored. It will not make any effect on existing set object. So we have already lily in our flower set, and if you try to add it again, as you can see, after adding it, it contains same set object. Next method is remove. It removes an element from the set. So we can remove any element of set using that particular element. So here we are storing strings inside set object. So that particular string which we want to remove is passed inside the remove method. So it will remove that particular string object. If the given element inside the remove method does not exist in the set object, then it will raise a key error, which will be say that given object does not exist in given set. Okay. In order to avoid this error, if we are not sure that whether that element exists inside the set or not, we can use discard method, which will remove given element from the set, and if does not exist, it will not throw any error. Okay, so we'll try to remove multiple elements from the flower set. So first we will remove an element which is present inside the set. Next we are trying to remove using discard method an element which is not present in the set. So as we can see, after removing, discarding, it is not throwing any error. Next method is pop, which removes and returns arbitrary element from the set. So popping element, so which element gets removed and returned we cannot determine it. It removes and return in random order. Okay, so let's execute it. So as you can see, from the first pop it removed this object, and if we are again executing pop, it is removing a random element from the set and returning it. Next method is clear, which removes all elements from the set. So it will make set empty. As we can see, after executing clear, it contains empty set. Next method is copy, which returns a shallow copy of a set. So if we execute copy on flower set, it will create identical set object. Okay, now it will create a new set object. It will not return memory address of an existing set object, but what it will do is it will create a new empty set object, and it will copy all the memory address of an object which is stored inside the existing set object. It will not create new object out of it. So it's a shallow copy. Next method is update. It takes one argument which can be any iterable such as list or tuple object or a set object itself, and it adds element from given iterable to existing set, but that given iterable must contain elements which are hashable. Okay, so here we have flower set same, and we have more flowers in iterable which is a tuple object, and if we try to update it with it, it will add all these elements inside existing set. Because the set is mutable data type, any operation on the object will modify that particular object, okay, without changing memory reference of that particular object. Okay, so if we execute it, as we can see here, after updating flower set, it contains all the elements which are updated here. Okay, but that will be in random order because it does not maintain any order of a given. Next is intersection update. Retains only element which are common to set and a given iterable. Okay, so we have second iterable in terms of tuple object, so it will only retains elements which are common to both set and the given iterable inside the flower set object. Okay, so let's execute it. As we can see, it only contains two common elements. Okay, so it will only preserve those, and all others elements from the flower set gets removed. Next is difference update. It removes common elements from the set in comparison with the given iterable. So we know here it contains this common element, so that common element will be removed. Okay, so as we can see here, lily is common and also this is also common. Okay, so both of them gets removed from the original flower set. Next method is symmetric difference update. It will only retain uncommon element between set and a given iterable. So it will remove all common elements and it will retain unique element present in both the given set and the given iterable. So let's execute it. So we know that we have two common elements. Okay, these two. So excluding those two elements, all the elements will be present inside the final set object. Next method is superset, which takes a set as an argument, which checks the given set or this particular set is a superset of a given set. If it is, then it returns true. Okay, so let's execute it. We know that it is a set 1 is a superset of a set 2, so it returns true. Okay, next method is subset, which checks that whether the given set is a subset of a supplied set here. Okay, so here we know that set 2 is a subset of a set 1. Okay, so same we are checking here, so it will return Next is membership operator, which checks that whether the given element is inside the set or not. So in will check whether it is present, and not in will check whether it is not present. So we have flower set. So if we check whether the lily is in flower set, so it will return true. If we check jasmine in the flower set, it does not exist. So both of them will execute if block. Okay, as we can see here, lily is present and jasmine is absent from the flower list, a flower set. Next is identity operator. So it compares the memory address of a given two variable. So it will compare that where the given two variables are pointing to the object in memory. If both the variable are storing the same memory address, then and then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. For identity operator is, and is not will negate that. Okay, so here we are creating a set object, set 1, and set 2 is created with same value, but it is using constructor of a set. So as the set is a mutable data type, it will create a different object even if it is having same values. Okay, and in third set, here we are assigning set 1 to set 3, in which we are just copying the memory address which is stored by a variable set 1. Okay, so if you execute it, as we can see here, set 1 is not set 2 because both objects are different, or both objects are stored in different memory location, and set 1 and set 3 points to the same object inside the memory. And for is not, it will negate the answer returned by a is operator. Okay, next is operator of set object. Okay, so same methods we saw for the set object, for those methods there are operators. Okay, so for difference, okay, so we will begin with union. Union will combine the value of two sets. Okay, same way intersection will print only the attributes which are common to both sets. So if we compare it side by side, so this is union, which will combine elements of both sets given to it. Okay, intersection will retain only the common elements to both sets. Difference will only return elements which are unique to the set 1. Okay, so here we know that these two, lily and tulips, are common, so in excluding that, it will return these 4 objects inside the set. Okay, next one is symmetric difference. So it will return set object which is containing elements which are uncommon to both of the given set. Okay, so excluding the common elements, it will contain all other elements which are present in both sets. Okay, next one is greater than, which will check for the superset. So set 1 is a superset of set 2. If it is, then it will return true. Greater than or equal to will check same as greater than, but it will also return true if both sets are equal. Okay, same as less than, it will check for the subset. If the set 1 is a subset of set 2, then it will return true. Okay, and less than or equal to, it will return true for if both the sets are equal. Equal to, it will return true if both the sets are containing same exact elements, and not equal to will return true if both sets are not containing equal elements. Okay. Next topic is set comprehension. So this is same syntax as we saw for the list comprehension. Okay, in here we can write for loop. So we are iterating through each elements of a given set, and here we are writing an expression for the final element which we want to store inside the set object. Okay, so this is for list, we are changing it to the set here. Okay, so same expression we are writing inside the curly braces. So this expression remains same for both, but the final container changes. Okay, so let's write first set comprehension. So here we are iterating from I from 1 to 10, and here expression we are writing the same I. So it will create a set which containing values from 1 to 10. Okay. Same way we can filter out the elements which are written by the for loop. Okay, so if we have a iterator which is a list and which is containing the string object, and we want to only filter out the numeric string, then we can write for each element in given iterator, we are checking if it is numeric, then we are storing the same string, but the final container is set object. Okay, so it should return set containing only numeric strings. Okay, and all other example as we saw for the list, such as nested for loop and all other generator function, that also applies same for the set. So for more details, watch that video. Yeah. Next example is constructing a set object from list of words from a book. So here we will take a book in a text format. Okay, this is the book, and we will extract in this function we are extracting each line of the text book, and we are extracting each word of the given book. So from that each word inside the list, we want to create a set object which is containing the unique words which are used in the given book. Okay, so this is our helper function which will give us the list of words. So that words are duplicates, obviously, because it can contain thousands of words inside a book. So we will write set comprehension. Okay, so this here it is returning a list. So we are iterating over list and we are storing the same word inside set. Okay, so as we know that set ignores the duplicate value, so it will only store unique values. So final set will contain all the words which are used inside the given book. Okay, so let's execute it. As we can see, it's a huge output because book is large. So as we can see here, if we take len out of the set object, it contains 3287 unique words. Okay, and these are the unique words which is stored inside the set object. Okay, the uniqueness of element is guaranteed because by design set contains only unique data type. Okay, next topic is frozen set. So set is a mutable data type. Now if we want to make it immutable, we can make it using frozen set. So frozen set is having constructor which is the same as we saw for the set. It takes iterable as an argument and it returns the frozen set object. So that iterable can be any iterable object such as list, tuple object, set object, or any custom class which supports the iterable protocol, iterator protocol. Okay, so here we will create 3 frozen set out of different iterable container which are holding same elements. Okay, so if we execute it, as we can see, it is creating same final frozen set object. Because it is immutable, once it is created, its elements cannot be changed, and we know that these are the built-in elements. They are hashable and also immutable, so their values cannot also be changed. Okay, so if we compare methods of function, method or function with the set, it will not contain methods which modify the set object such as add, remove. Okay, so those methods will not be the part of a frozen set. So if we take a difference of attributes of set and frozen set, we can also know what is the difference. So first we will see the methods which are accessible using frozen set object. So these are the methods which works same as the set object. Okay, so we saw copy, difference, intersection. All this method works the same way. Okay, and what are the methods which are not part of it? So these are the methods which we have taken the difference from frozen set. So obviously pop removes an element, discard removes an element. Okay, so that those methods are not part of a frozen set. Okay, next is iterating through element of a frozen set, which is also the same. Okay, now if we are creating a frozen set out of iterable, and after creating frozen set, if you are changing original iterable, in this flower set. From flower set we have created frozen set object, which is flower set read only. And if we are adding, after creating arrow, if we are adding a new element to existing iterable, it will not affect frozen set. So frozen set will remain the same. As you can see, flower set containing new flower, but frozen set does not include it. Okay, so when creating a frozen set object, it iterates element of given iterable, and it will only include elements which are present at the time of execution of that iterable. Okay, so afterwards changing the element, adding, removing, it does not matters to the frozen set. Okay, that brings us to end of video.